One American soldier, 3 men, and 100 enemy soldiers trapped in the snow. Could audacious courage win the day? The world is a monochrome canvas of gray and white. Snow, heavy and wet, clings to the skeletal branches of the trees lining a narrow road. The air is thick with the biting cold of late January, 1945, in the woods outside Holzwihr, France. A German officer, his face a mask of disbelief and rage, stands before a lone American sergeant. His hand, clad in a black leather glove, raises a Luger pistol, the dark metal a stark contrast against the snow. The pistol levels, its dark eye fixing on the American's chest. Behind the officer, a column of nearly 80 German soldiers, moments ago prisoners, begins to stir. A flicker of hope ignites in their weary eyes. The lone American does not flinch. He simply shifts the weight of the Thompson submachine gun cradled in his arms. This is the breaking point, the impossible moment that history struggles to believe. To understand how one man stands against 80, we must rewind the clock by only a few hours. The date is January 29, 1945. The great German offensive in the Ardennes has been broken, but the war in Europe is far from over. Allied forces are pushing into the heart of the Third Reich, but every mile is paid for in blood and frozen steel. In the calmer pocket of eastern France, the fighting is a relentless, grinding affair. Here, the men of the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, elite American paratroopers, are bled white. Their faces are gaunt, etched with exhaustion and the grime of weeks of combat. Frostbite is as great an enemy as the German machine gun nests hidden in the dense forests. The snow is not a pristine blanket, but a soiled shroud covering the scars of battle, splintered trees, shell craters, and the frozen earth. Among these hardened veterans is First Sergeant Leonard Funk. He is not a boy playing soldier. He is a leader of men, his gaze steady, his movements economical and deliberate. He wears his rank not with arrogance, but with the heavy weight of responsibility for the young paratroopers who look to him. His M1928A1 Thompson is less a weapon and more an extension of his will, its wooden stock worn smooth by his grip, its metal scarred by the campaigns in Normandy, Holland, and now here, in the frozen hell of the calmer pocket. The morning begins quietly, a deceptive calm in the midst of chaos. A small administrative patrol is sent out from Funk's company headquarters. It is a routine task, a simple check-in with an isolated outpost. Funk, ever the vigilant first sergeant, leads the small detail himself. 4 men, their boots crunching softly on the crusted snow, move like ghosts through the woods. Their breath plumes in the frigid air, each man's eyes constantly scanning the oppressive, silent trees. The silence itself is a threat, a coiled spring of tension. Every snap of a twig underfoot sounds like a rifle shot. Suddenly a scout returned, his face pale, his eyes wide. He gestures frantically, his words coming in hushed, urgent whispers. Through the tree line, not far from their objective, he has spotted enemy movement. First Sergeant Funk moves forward alone, his body low to the ground, the Thompson held at the ready. He crawls to the edge of a small clearing, peering through the tangled undergrowth. His blood runs cold. It is not a small German patrol. It is not a machine gun team. It is a massive enemy force, nearly 100 soldiers, kitted out for a counterattack. They are a mix of veterans and young conscripts, their Feldgrau greatcoats blending with the gray woods, their Mauser rifles stacked, their machine guns waiting. They are an army in miniature, discovered by accident. The textbook military response is clear. Withdraw silently, report the enemy position, and call in artillery. An engagement would be suicide for 4 men. But Leonard Funk does not see 4 men against 100. He sees an opportunity, a fleeting, insane chance born of audacity. He turns to his small patrol, his voice low but firm, giving them their orders. They are to provide covering fire, to make the sound of a much larger force, from the dense woods to his flank. Then he turns back toward the enemy, his knuckles white on the grip of his submachine gun. He rises from his cover, not with a wild charge but with a determined, steady walk. He steps out of the tree line and into the open. A single American soldier, appearing as if from the earth itself. German heads snap up in surprise. A young sentry, startled, begins to raise his rifle. Before he can aim, a burst of covering fire from Funk's men rips through the trees to the German flank. The shots are high, designed to confuse, not kill. Panic and confusion ripple through the German ranks. They believe they are surrounded, caught in a well-laid trap by a superior American force. Officers shout contradictory orders, soldiers dive for cover, unsure where the attack is coming from. Into this chaos strides Leonard Funk. He doesn't shout, he doesn't scream. He simply advances, his Thompson held ready, his eyes sweeping across the enemy soldiers. His calm, implacable presence is more terrifying than any battle cry. He is the embodiment of the inevitable. He points with the barrel of his gun towards the American lines. The message is universal, needing no translation. A German non-commissioned officer, seeing the futility, drops his rifle in the snow. The sound is a final, metallic sigh of surrender. One by one, then in a flood the others follow. Hands go up, rifles are discarded, and the fight drains out of them. In the space of a few minutes, first Sergeant Leonard Funk, with the help of 3 other men he used as a phantom army, has single-handedly captured over 80 enemy soldiers. The clearing is now littered with discarded German equipment, a testament to the sheer audacity of the act. Now comes the second impossible task. He must march his prisoners back to the American lines. His 3 men are still in the woods, providing rear security. Funk is alone, walking point for a long, snaking column of his own captives. The line of gray-clad soldiers stretches far behind him down the narrow, snow-covered path. He walks backwards, his Thompson never wavering, his eyes scanning the faces of the men he has just disarmed. He sees not monsters, but tired, defeated soldiers, many no older than the boys in his own company. Their expressions are a mixture of shock, humiliation, and a strange, quiet relief. For them, the war is over. The silence returns to the woods, broken only by the crunch of 100 pairs of boots in the snow. But the quiet is a lie. As the column rounds a bend in the road, they are met with a horrifying sight. A German patrol, a 10-man squad armed with automatic weapons, emerges from the woods, led by a determined-looking officer. They are a rescue party, sent to link up with the very force that Funk now holds captive. The German officer's eyes widen, first in confusion, then in comprehension, and finally in pure fury. He sees one American soldier holding an entire company of his countrymen prisoner. It is an insult to his honor, to his army, to his nation. He barks a series of sharp commands. The defeated prisoners, seeing their armed comrades, begin to stir. The spark of hope is reignited. They look from the rescue party to their lone captor. The officer unholsters his Luger pistol. He strides forward, his face a mask of cold rage, and levels the weapon directly at First Sergeant Funk's heart. This is the moment. The delicate, unbelievable truce is shattered. The German officer believes he has the upper hand, that the American is frozen, caught between the rescuers and the now rebellious prisoners. He has made a fatal miscalculation. He has mistaken a professional soldier for a simple guard. Leonard Funk does not hesitate. He does not wait for the officer to fire. He does not attempt to negotiate. In a single, fluid motion, he brings the heavy Thompson submachine gun to his shoulder. The weapon bucks violently against him, a deafening roar that tears the winter air to shreds. A stream of .45 caliber slugs rips into the German officer, throwing him backwards into the snow, a red stain spreading instantly across his gray coat. Funk does not stop. The Thompson swings in a deadly arc, sweeping across the stunned rescue party before they can even raise their own weapons. The submachine gun chews through them, its heavy rounds cutting them down in the snow. The prisoners who had started to rise, who had dared to hope, now dive to the ground in terror, their hands clamped over their heads. The brief, bloody counterattack is over in seconds. Silence, absolute and profound, descends once more upon the forest. The only sound is the gentle hiss of hot brass casings melting into the snow. The only movement is the thin curl of smoke rising from the barrel of Funk's Thompson. He stands over the fallen Germans, a lone, grim figure breathing heavily in the freezing air. He has not just captured an enemy force, he has defended his catch from its own army. The remaining prisoners stare at him now not with defiance, but with a primal fear and awe. Their will to resist is utterly and permanently broken. First, Sergeant Leonard Funk secures his prisoners and completes his journey back to the American lines, delivering an entire enemy element as a prize of war. His actions on that frozen January day were so extraordinary they bordered on the unbelievable. He saved his own unit from a potentially devastating counterattack and single-handedly altered the course of the battle for Holzwihr. His bravery was a singular beacon in the grim, desperate fighting that defined the end of the war in Europe, a testament to the fact that sometimes the will and audacity of one man can be more powerful than an army. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.